this video, I'm going to be showing you two more ways that you can edit your photo that are more light-related edits. One of them that I'm going to show you is how to create a fade on a picture using the lightness tool. And another one I'm going to show you is how you can show a picture. So let's start with the fade. Now, sometimes you might want to create a more vintage look on your picture. Just give it a little bit of a fade so it's not so bright of colors. There are several ways you can fade on Photoshop, but one of the easiest ways that I've found is by adjusting the lightness of the picture. Lightness is very similar to brightness, which I explain in another one of my videos on my page if you want to check that out. But whereas brightness turns up the overall lightness and darkness of the page and really brings out some of those colors, the lightness as you turn it up and down kind of washes out that color and almost puts a shadow over the picture. So let me show you what I mean by this. So to change the lightness, if you go over to the adjustment panel and you click on the very left button of the center row for hue and saturation, you can see that on the bottom there is a lightness scroll bar. So as I scroll up in lightness, you can see it's starting to fade out. And instead of bringing these colors up, it's really just washing out the picture until you wash the picture out completely. You can also do oppositely, bring it down, and now you're getting a shadow that's starting to wash out the picture until it is completely overshadowed. So in order to create just a little bit of a fade, I like to turn the lightness up to somewhere around a 6 or 7, and it kind of gives it that old time faded little bit of a vintage feel without it being overdone. Of course, if you want it to be even more faded for even older feel, you can turn it up just even a little bit more to make it more noticeable. But it gives that slightly washed out look that can really help you get a fade on a photo if that's the look that you're going for. Now I'm going to show you how to sharpen a picture. So let's go over to my second picture here. And what the point of sharpening is so that you can enhance the edges of a picture. So maybe you have a picture that's a little bit blurry, or a picture like this where I have this flower of clover, and I just want to bring out some of the details a little bit more so that it stands out. So there are a couple different ways to sharpen, but I'm going to show you one of the ways that Photoshop can more automatically sharpen the picture. So before you sharpen a picture, I would always suggest making sure you have a copy of the background just in case you don't like it, and you can just go ahead and get rid of that layer rather than having it stuck on the background and you possibly risking you having to start all over with your editing. So to sharpen the picture, you need to go up to the top where it says filter. And if you click on filter, you can see down here below render, there is a sharpen option. Now, like I said, there are several options for sharpening. I'm going to go ahead and use the smart sharpen option because this is a more automatic way of Photoshop sharpening the picture. It uses more calculations and it gives you some settings that it recommends. Of course, you can customize those, but I think for my preference, I think it is a smarter option just because Photoshop tends to know what it's doing. So I'm going to click on smart sharpen, and you can see it gives you some of these custom settings. You can always play with these, but if you want to just go ahead and trust Photoshop, which I typically do, you can just keep them there. That is totally up to you. I have messed with them in the past and sometimes over-sharpened the picture to the point of it looking unnatural. But again, that is your preference, and if you want to play around with it and see, you can. But there is a preview box to show you where it's working at the details, and you can actually already notice in the background here that my picture is already more sharp and clear and more detailed because it's showing me basically what it would look like if I were to apply this. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK because I like the way that looks. Now, sometimes the sharpen edit can take a while to load, so we might have to sit here for a second. But something I really like about the Smart Sharpen is, one, like I said, it brings those custom settings automatically. It can be very tedious to try to figure out those numbers on your own. So whether even if you just have to adjust them slightly just to get the look that you want, it's nice that Photoshop can bring that to you. I would suggest when you're sharpening, especially with pictures with nature and stuff, it really brings out some cool detail. But just be careful when you are editing maybe pictures of people that you don't let it over sharpen it. Because I've done that to pictures of people before just to test to see what it does. And it kind of brings out an unnatural, almost creepy look to a person's face if you sharpen it. So there's definitely a line where you don't want to bring out too much detail. But this looks like this is wrapping up here. And once this is gone, we can see and we can turn off and on to see our before and after. Looks like just one more second. Awesome. So we have a nice and more bright and pretty picture. So it looks a lot better than what it was. And to give you a reminder, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this layer. And look, before it didn't really seem like it was a very blurry picture, but now in comparison, when it's been sharpened, you can just see so much more detail of that flower. So sharpen is a great way to bring out those edges and just make that photo look more clear. So now you know how to create a fade on a picture using lightness and how to make a picture more sharp and clear by using that Smart Sharpen tool.